Today I'm back to talk about books, movies, TV shows, whatever. So anything that I've consumed in July. This video is recorded a little bit late just because my laptop was broken and I didn't know when I would get it back, so I didn't know whether I would even be able to do this video, but here I am and I'm doing it. So the first book I wanted to talk about is the book that I mentioned in my last wrap-up, and this is Shaman by Noah Gordon. Again, this is a story about doctors in the, I don't know, like 1700s, 1800s, something like that. This was a very interesting book. I really liked it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a 700-page story, so it's quite long. It has like a slower pace, but there's always something going on. It touches on very interesting topics like the Native Americans at the time, which you can see on the cover, and I hate this cover, to be honest. Yeah. Also the trouble with the Irish people that came over to America, and you know, the Americans didn't want them, and then also the Civil War and stuff like that. So this is like a huge story. It's the whole life, or practically the whole life, of Rob J. Cole, and he is one of his ancestors was the Medicus, and this is the first book in this series, but you can read the books separately. You don't need one to understand the other. But basically they're just all doctors, and there's always one in the family that has a special gift, and this gift is to be able to tell if someone is going to die. So these are just very good doctors because they know when a case is hopeless, and then they can just focus on caring for the patients to make it easier for them, but they also know when it's worth fighting, and then they will fight till the end to save the life of the patient. So obviously they started in like Ireland, and in the first book he travels all through the Arab countries, and now in this book we have to somehow get to America, and that is because this new Rob J. Cole, he has like political troubles because he did something wrong, and so he has to get away from Ireland. And he gets there and he finds some kind of friends, like people that respect him, and they try to help him to move upwards in the social hierarchy. But he decides to go and travel east and discover like the lands where there's still Native Americans, because he's super interested in their culture and stuff like that. So he has a very positive outlook, and he's a very peaceful person, and that is like a very interesting character because at the time that's actually quite rare. So he wants to treat everyone equally. He also is against slavery. And then he lives through these times where he's a very special character, but from a nowadays perspective, you would just agree with him the most, I would say. So it's very interesting to see the world from this point of view. Also the whole Civil War in the end, which was just so interesting, because obviously as a German I don't know too much about it, and all those little details that were woven in there without it being like a history lesson, it was just super interesting to read. And obviously I don't know how much is fiction and how much is true, but like some of these little bits of information that were just mind-blowing, like people coming out of their cities because they were expecting to see a battle, and then they all got scared because there was a battle and stuff like that. It's just really weird. And if people really did that, if they thought that the war would be entertaining, I think they're just ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know how people can think that. But overall, as I said, it's a historical fiction novel, and I love those, and I loved this one. It took me a while to read, but I really enjoyed it, and so that's that. So the second book I wanted to talk about is Nimona. This is a graphic novel. I picked this up because it's a standalone and I love that, but there's also like a webcomic series about Nimona. But what I like is that this is not... It's not just the webcomic in a book, it's a real story about Nimona that is worth putting in a book. And I think I gave this one like 4.5 or 5 out of 5 stars because it's actually the first graphic novel that I liked. I don't know why, but it's just not my kind of thing. But this one was really good. I loved the characters, I loved the weird relationship between these guys. I love her, she's so cute, and yeah, it was just so many twists and turns in the end, and I felt like the story was very unpredictable. And it's about this shapeshifter girl, Nimona, and she goes to him. I actually forgot his name, I'm sorry, but he's the evil guy and she wants to be his sidekick, but actually it's not like black and white. This story is all about how things are not black and white. And then he's like the good guy and he's going to save everyone. But as I said, throughout the story you realize it's not black and white. So I loved everything about this. Like the whole storyline was perfect. But the art style, I think I like it a lot. And then the humor is it's just amazing. Like, I don't know, I just really like the humor in this. It had me laugh out loud and grin all the time. And it's just so cute, funny, and clever. It's really clever and interesting and fun and an adventure, and if you like these kind of things and maybe you're a little bit iffy about graphic novels as well, just try this. I think this is a very good one. So this was all the books I read, basically, because it took me quite a long time. I wanted to show you the book I'm currently reading so you can understand. It's this. This is a bind-up of 3 books by Stan Nichols, and it's the 4th, 5th and 6th books, 6th book in his like orc sexology, I don't know, whatever that's called. So the English titles are Bad Blood 1, Weapons of Magical Destruction, Bad Blood 2, Army of Shadows, and Bad Blood 3, Inferno. And yeah, so this is a huge book. It's 1,400 pages. So I'm quite far through now because obviously we're way into August. I'm planning to finish this soon, so I have a little bit more to talk about in August. But yeah, that took me a while. So for July I only have these 2 books. And what else did we see? We went to see Alice in Wonderland 2, which I liked. I heard that it wasn't as good as the first one, and I always like to hear that before I go into movies, so I don't have like this expectation it would be great. But when I have this kind of mindset that it's not as good, I can really enjoy these kind of movies, these kind of sequel things. So I really liked it. It was quite different. I really liked the Cohen guy, I always forget his name, but who played the time. He did that very well. I think that was such an interesting aspect of the story. And then also we get a little bit of background about the characters, which was very interesting. I really enjoyed that part. So I would say it's a good sequel. It's not the best sequel in the world, but it's a good one, and as I said, I just enjoyed it. Yeah. We finally saw Spotlight as well, but I don't remember. I think it was in July as well. This movie was just great. It was perfection. I loved it. I loved the actors. I loved the characters. I loved the storyline. I loved how it deals with this very heavy topic without exploiting it. So when you hear about, you know, rape scenarios or children abuse stories, stuff like that, it always has this kind of exploitation aspect to it, like you're making a story out of this really bad situation that people have been in. And this movie just, it's so respectful. Like you don't see like those people suffering. You have a few examples, but it's not like you pity them or anything like that. But you see the journalists and how they just realize that there's evil in their world, and also that maybe something they believed in for a very long time isn't as good as they thought. So you get all the feelings, like seriously, all the feelings. I was devastated after this movie without seeing a lot of the victims, and I thought that was so well done. I just love that about it. So if you haven't seen it already, which is practically impossible, just go and watch Spotlight. I think it's phenomenal. I hope it has the same title in English, because sometimes they do this weird thing where they translate the title into another English title for the Germans. I don't know. But yeah, it was just an amazing movie. I can't say anything else about it. Then we also watched the TV series Lucifer, which I loved. It's so amazing. Yeah, we watched the first episode, like the pilot, a very long time ago, like last year sometime in autumn or something, and we loved that. And I was really skeptical whether the first season would be as great, but it really is. This is all about Lucifer, and he decides to leave hell because he's bored, and he goes to LA to be a club owner, but then also starts helping this detective solve cases. And it's just so cool, like the humor of this series is so good, and I love the dynamic between the main characters. It's really, really good. And also the actor for Lucifer, he's like the hottest guy on earth. Like, probably not, but you know what I mean. He's really good, and I really like him in his kind of role. So I think that's all for this video, because I really can't remember anything else. But if you have read or watched any of these and you agree or disagree with me, just let me know. I would love to hear your opinion. I will talk to you soon. Bye!